sometimes it feels like the deck that we are using just stops working. And it can be really frustrating, especially if you don't have a big collection, you don't have experience with as many decks. If you really only want to play one or two decks, or that's all you have, that's really what you're trying to play, and it stops working, it feels really frustrating. But there are some things that you can do, and a couple of reasons why that deck feels like it stopped working. So let's talk about these, and we're going to have something really cool at the end, so make sure you stick around and check that out as well. When you're playing a deck, there's a couple things that can happen to really make it feel like it stopped working. First thing is the meta changed, and it might even change like that permanently, such as a set of balance changes. Something got nerfed, and now the deck that you were playing stopped working. Or it could even just be that after a change, a new expansion, something like that has happened, people have shifted to trying to target a specific deck. And that can really affect you, especially if you were playing the deck that people are now trying to target. But there's also a couple of things outside of ladder. And the big one is mindset. Now, I've fallen into this trap myself, and let me tell you, I even remember through struggles, you can still be successful. I still remember the first time I hit Legend, I literally had a day early in the month where I had an 8% win rate. Yes, 8%, single digit. It was really, really bad. But I didn't change the deck at all. I stayed with the same deck. 8% win rate one day. Later in that month, I hit Legend for the very first time. Now, that was 4 or 5 years ago now. It's been quite a while. But the big thing and takeaway that I want you to really think about is that this is a game of finding the middle ground. There's going to be fluctuations, whether it's in terms of the RNG, your draw. There's going to be a little bit of fluctuation in the metas. Now, I will say more recently, I feel like we've had more changes more often than we might have had 4 to 5 years ago. But what I want you to think about as well is the average. You have to look at the average of all of these games. So yesterday, maybe you played 10 games. Today, you've only played 3, but you've lost every single game. Well, it's only 3 games. You have to find that average of the games and the average of the meta and the decks that you're seeing. If you're seeing quite a wide variety of decks, it might feel even more frustrating because you can't seem to get a handle on how the deck does versus a certain class. And you try to get better at playing against that certain class, but then it changes again, and now all of a sudden you're just seeing druids instead of mages. Again, it can feel really frustrating. And this is why you hear a lot of pros or people who work a lot with all of the analysis and looking at data, things like Vicious Syndicate and HS Replay, talking about sample size. And that really does play a big role in how you're going to feel across your games. So now that we've set the scene on kind of what it feels like, what it looks like, I'm sure you've experienced this. I know I have. Let's talk about a couple of things you can do besides looking at the sample size and how many games you may have played to kind of change your perspective. The first thing for sure that I want to mention, and I am so guilty of this myself, so this is not a like overnight fix, but when you're looking at these games or you're feeling like yesterday it worked and today it isn't, you have to step back a little and consider maybe you're putting that on yourself. Now, I don't mean it as a you are the reason that everything is now going wrong, but maybe you got really confident because maybe you had a really high win rate yesterday and it felt so great and you just kicked butt on ladder with it. And now today you're frustrated. It's not working. You feel so bad. You came into it feeling so great. And now all of a sudden you've just lost a bunch and you don't understand. Well, there is kind of the opposite of tilt that can happen with confidence. You may have actually gone into the game feeling a little bit overconfident, and maybe you just thought, oh, yesterday I played a handful of mages and I won every game. So you queue into a mage today, you feel like you can win, and you don't think through your plays. Again, I'm not saying that it purely is your fault, but that can happen. Again, I've done this myself as well. So I really want to encourage you, go into these games and really try to just think about the plays you're making. The more you focus on the plays and the reasons why you are making those plays, the better you will do in the long run. Now, I know a lot of people kind of get this focus issue, or they think that they have to be a certain rank. There's so many things going on besides just the game, and you might not even realize it. So in previous videos, when I've mentioned before things like try to focus on just the game itself, you know, don't take the outside life into the game and vice versa, all of those strategies are really just trying to help you set up your mindset so that when you get into game, you can focus on the gameplay. Now, the other thing that I think happens a lot with players that I've discussed with a lot of other players as well is, without even realizing it, and no matter where they're at on ladder, but sometimes you really can start to feel kind of ladder anxiety is kind of basically what a lot of people call it. Now, ladder anxiety is frustrating. Let's just put it, let's say it how it is. It's frustrating. It makes you feel bad about yourself as well. I've hit legend before, or I've hit this rank before. Why do I feel anxious now? Why can't I just get over this? And one big thing is, again, that you're putting that feeling, that frustration, that requirement of hitting a certain rank on yourself instead of thinking about the game. Now, let's say driving. I love using driving as an example because I think it's just so universal. Let's say a bus driver is on the road taking, going to the stops, picking people up, taking people to various locations. And instead of knowing the route, knowing those stops, okay, I need to stop at this street. I drive up 3 lights. I stop at the next lights. I go up 5 more lights, stop there. Instead of breaking it down like that and kind of thinking about the pieces, thinking about what it is they need to do, if they just focused on, oh no, I'm 1 minute behind, I need to hurry up, I need to just speed, go through this, what's going to happen? There's going to probably be a lot more accidents. People will get really frustrated or anxious themselves who might be passengers on the bus. And that's kind of the position that a lot of players put themselves into. They kind of put themselves into that, I need to hurry, I need to rush, I need to get to legend ASAP, or I need to push these ranks, I need to climb, I need to do this, I need. And really, it causes yourself a lot of stress. Now, I know that a lot of players do want to hit legend. They want to hit a certain rank. They want to push for the 11-star bonus. They want to hit personal bests, whatever that is. Absolutely. Those goals and wants are fantastic. But the big downside is when you let those things get in the way of your progress. Now, yes, this is probably sounding a little bit off topic. Where are we going with this? But that's the thing, is that I really want you all to consider how much that requirement for you to hit legend is actually getting in the way of you hitting legend. If you just focus on the gameplay, or even focus on finding something to improve. In some of the other videos, you can find the playlist at the end of this video. You can go back and watch some of those other tips. I give you a ton of suggestions on what to take notes on, really how to sit down and focus on games, how to break it down to make it a little bit easier on yourself so you don't feel so overwhelmed jumping into game and trying to think of and remember everything. But I also want you to recognize that if you put too much emphasis on getting a win, getting a specific rank, getting there by a certain point, it's going to feel very frustrating if you don't get to that point. And then it kind of just goes back on you. Put that on yourself. You say it was your fault, which in a way it is. But if you want to get to that next level, if you really want to push yourself, you have to take a step back and not look at it as a personal attachment, but rather really look at it as, what can you change about your gameplay? Can you be taking notes? Can you be trying to look at stats? Can you be trying something differently or thinking about plays differently while you're playing to really change how you feel? And how does this relate to when a deck stops working? Well, again, one big thing that gets in the way is that people either think, I was doing so well with this before, and now it's not working. And then on the other side of it, people also think, oh, I did really well with this before, or this is the top meta deck, I will just do really well with it. Instead of thinking about how they should be playing those decks, they expect to get wins. And, it just does not work that way. Sometimes it might, but in the long run and over the course of enough games to get you to Legend or that rank that you will want to get to, it's not always enough to get there. Now, I'm going to give you homework here. I want you all to go out and try this over a couple of days. Each time you log in and you want to play, keep that goal that you have in mind, whether it's hitting Legend, hitting a specific rank. Maybe it's just playing a certain amount of games or getting 500 wins with Hunter. All of those goals are fantastic. But try to take one step back and think about, what is the next goal to get to that one? So if you actually kind of go backwards in your goal setting, instead of saying, I need to hit Legend, well, say, well, before I can get Legend, I need to get to Diamond 1. Maybe you're at Diamond 5. But if you even try to just say, I'm going to just get to Diamond 4 today, that's a little bit less pressure on you. Yeah, there's still that bit of pressure you're putting on yourself, but it's going to be more manageable. And by breaking apart those goals into separate goals, it's going to be a lot easier for you to manage. And then when you look at it that way, it's not going to feel so overwhelming. And maybe you're not going to feel that certain decks did well yesterday and now they aren't. That might be the case, but there's a lot more to it. All right, now, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I just want to say that I have a ton more content planned for you all. I recently was asking on Twitter about players' goals in-game and in the kind of community as a whole. A ton of you were talking about hitting Legend and getting the 11-star and also hitting Legend consistently. So I'm definitely going to be working on a ton of content geared towards all of you. So if that is something you are interested in, I would love if you would subscribe, hit that follow so that you can stay tuned for even more. And I'm going to be getting more content with a variety of creators and also pro players, talking to them about their strategies, how they've done things in the past, and pick their brains about the best tips and pointers that they have as well. So if there is a specific player or a specific topic from players that you want to hear about, please put those in the comments below as well. And if you already have subscribed or you are now subscribed, thank you so much as we work towards that 1,000 subscribers. There's going to be a big giveaway and a whole celebration when we do hit that milestone. So thank you so much, everyone, for helping us get there. And if you have friends or family or just people that you know in the community who could use these kind of topics and who want to dive in even deeper, please share these videos with them so that they can get the knowledge and I can continue reaching more people. And again, keep those ideas coming, whether it's through the comment sections here or via Twitter or Discord, whatever it is. But I would love to get in touch with more people, hear what it is that they want out of these videos, what kinds of content they want. And yes, we are going to do more content showing things as well, but a lot of these videos are kind of just laying the foundation, the base work before we get into specific details and specific things like actually reviewing games. I just want to lay this foundation, the groundwork, so we can build upon it. So thank you all for checking this out. And now, this is the big thing. If you have stayed to this point, this is a bonus, more detailed tip for you as well. Okay, if you have really felt super frustrated by the meta, these decks stop working for you, I'm not going to suggest to change decks. What I'm going to suggest, change 1 or 2 cards in your deck. And I know that sounds like, how is that going to work? But what I want to actually say is changing 1 or 2 cards in your deck is going to do a couple of things for you. First, it's going to make you think about which cards you feel like you need to take out. If they just feel like they really aren't working for you, you never draw them, or when you do draw them, they sit in your hand and do nothing. Take those cards out, put something else in. It's going to help you think about what you want to play instead. If it's an even somewhat aggressive deck, can you fit in 1 more weapon or 1 more minion that maybe has charge or even rush? If it's a slower deck, do you feel like you've had enough healing or taunt? But this is a kind of complex solution. And like I said, it does a couple of things, but really making you think about what to take out of your deck and what to put in. You can also put in cards based on what you're seeing. If it feels like you just are hitting a wall, you just can't seem to beat a certain class or a couple of classes, put in a tech card. Put something in, put in more draw to draw for your tech cards that you already have in there. But do this little change and see how you feel about the deck. Because maybe there's a card or two that just isn't working, whether it's the meta, whether it's your play style. But again, going back to my story of the first time that I hit Legend, I did not really like playing a certain card in the deck. At that time, it was Murlocs, in Paladin, Hydrologist. Everybody loved that card. I hated it. I felt like I could never get the secret discover correct. I always feel like I picked the wrong thing. It felt slow. It felt like I was just putting a thing on the board and not doing anything, and I didn't understand it. So I switched in for the Bluegill Warrior, which at that time was the charge minion. I'm sure it's changed a little bit by now, but I put in charge Murlocs instead. And that is what helped me got to Legend. Nobody else was playing that. Everyone else said that card is bad. But it fit my playstyle. I was already an aggressive deck, and I said, I want to do more damage. That card doesn't seem to be working for me. I just don't understand it. And, you know, everybody else basically thought that it was absolutely wrong. Of course, they said, it's a good card. Just put it in, play it. I didn't get it. So I really, really want to recommend to you, if you've gotten to this point in the video, you really are serious about changing how you feel about these decks, your results, try changing 1 or 2 cards. Again, even if it's to fit your playstyle. Do you like being more aggressive? Try to put in a slightly more aggressive minion. Something that has rush or charge, or put in a weapon where you, or a spell where you can just send it face. Even if it's a slow deck, you can do that. You can do that. So thank you again if you've gotten this far. I hope that that bonus tip helps you. And if it does, or if you love these kind of things, or if you want to tell me what deck and or card that you're changing, let me know those in the comments below as well. But for now, thank you so much for tuning in. Good luck on the ladder. And for even more tips, tricks, and strategies, check out the playlists here.